Yes, you saw the thumbnail correctly. They would have killed you for wearing glasses here. In Cambodia, under Pol Pot's regime, something as simple as wearing spectacles or any form of modern accessories could mark you for death. Well, let us explain. The rise of the Khmer Rouge and Pol Pot's regime in Cambodia, culminating in the horrific genocide between 1975 and 1979, is a complex tale rooted in political upheaval, ideological fanaticism, and the devastating impacts of foreign intervention. Initially, the Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, emerged from the shadows of Cambodia's political scene, exploiting the country's instability post-civil war and foreign interventions to establish its brutal rule. The Khmer Rouge's path to power was significantly influenced by broader geopolitical dynamics, including the Vietnam War. The North Vietnamese sought to create supply trails through Laos and Cambodia, aiding the communist insurgency in South Vietnam. This strategic move indirectly bolstered the Khmer Rouge, providing them with crucial support. Amid this tumultuous backdrop, the US, under President Nixon, initiated a secret bombing campaign aiming to disrupt these supply lines, inadvertently causing widespread destruction and civilian casualties in Cambodia. This bombing campaign, coupled with the internal conflict and political tensions, sowed seeds of discontent among the Cambodian populace, driving many into the arms of the Khmer Rouge. They, meanwhile, were perceived as a fighting force against foreign intervention and the existing corrupt regime. Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge's vision for Cambodia was radical and dystopian, aiming to reset society to year zero and mold it into a rural, agrarian utopia, devoid of class distinctions, religion, and foreign influence. They idolized the self-sufficiency of rural tribes, aiming to replicate their communal living on a national scale. This vision led to the forceful relocation of city dwellers to the countryside, the abolition of currency, and the eradication of private property and religious practices. Pol Pot's regime was characterized by its extreme measures to purify the Cambodian society of any elements deemed counter-revolutionary, resulting in the mass extermination of intellectuals. This regime's ideology was deeply influenced by Marxist, Leninist, and Maoist thought, integrating these principles with a peculiar interpretation of Cambodian cultural and religious ideals. Next was mass executions. Intellectuals, professionals, ethnic and religious minorities were identified as threats to the Khmer Rouge's ideology. These individuals were targeted and killed in mass executions, with the infamous killing fields serving as the grim sites where countless lives were mercilessly taken. Then the torture and imprisonment, S21, also known as Tuol Sleng, epitomized the regime's brutality. Originally a high school, it was converted into a prison where perceived enemies were subjected to inhumane torture methods to extract confessions for crimes they hadn't committed. Techniques included electric shocks, beatings, and waterboarding. The meticulous documentation by jailers at S21, including photographs and forced confessions, provides chilling evidence of the genocide's brutality. Most prisoners at S21 were eventually taken to the nearby Cheung Ek for execution, with deaths sometimes recorded through photographs of their corpses. The paranoia and distrust within the Khmer Rouge, driven by unmet agricultural production goals and fears of espionage, led to the purging of its own ranks, exacerbating the violence. Ultimately, the regime's downfall was not due to its internal brutality, but the invasion by Vietnamese forces in 1979, which exposed the extent of the atrocities and led to the regime's collapse. The Cambodian genocide, with the estimated murder of up to 3 million people, highlights the catastrophic impact of a regime driven by a distorted vision of utopia and a ruthless disregard for human life. These accounts are supported by detailed records from the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum and Cornell University's LibGuides, which offer insights into the operation of S21 and the broader genocidal campaign orchestrated by the Khmer Rouge. The Khmer Rouge's ascent to power in Cambodia, driven by Pol Pot's vision, is a stark narrative of how extreme ideology, coupled with societal unrest, can lead to catastrophic outcomes. The group's roots trace back to the Khmer People's Revolutionary Party, formed under the influence of the Viet Minh from Vietnam. Initially struggling for traction against the popular Prince Norodom Sihanouk, their fortunes shifted dramatically following Sihanouk's overthrow in 1970. This coup d'etat and subsequent US bombing campaigns aimed at disrupting Viet Cong supply lines inadvertently bolstered the Khmer Rouge's appeal among the rural Cambodian populace, marking a pivotal shift towards their brutal ascendancy. By 1975, the Khmer Rouge had seized control of Phnom Penh, marking the beginning of their notorious rule. Under Pol Pot's leadership, the regime sought to reset Cambodian society to Year Zero, aiming to forge a classless utopia dominated by agrarian socialism. This vision led to the forcible evacuation of cities, the closure of schools, hospitals, and factories, and the outright ban on religious practices and currency use. Intellectuals and professionals were especially targeted under the belief that they harbored capitalist sympathies, corrupting the ideal of a purely agrarian society. The regime's interpretation of Maoist communism dictated that only old people, the poorest peasants who worked the land, were fit to rebuild Cambodia. To enforce loyalty to the state and its radical ideals, the Khmer Rouge dismantled familial ties and abolished all forms of political and civil rights, subjecting even children to labor camps under the guise of state re-education. Intellectuals, or anyone with even a semblance of education, were viewed with suspicion and often executed. The infamous S21 prison, Tuol Sleng, became the center for some of the most heinous acts of torture and murder, as the regime sought to root out dissenters and consolidate its iron grip on power. In the aftermath of the Cambodian genocide, the nation faced profound challenges on multiple fronts, each intertwined with the scars left by the Khmer Rouge's reign. The survivors bore not just physical, but deep psychological wounds, grappling with PTSD, depression, and an array of mental health issues stemming from their experiences. The societal fabric of Cambodia was torn asunder, with the genocide decimating educational infrastructure, eliminating a significant portion of the educated elite, and disrupting the nation's economic and social development trajectory for decades. The educational system, once a beacon of progress in the region, was left in ruins. The targeting of intellectuals resulted in the loss of up to 96% of tertiary students and 75% of all teachers. This had a lasting impact on education, with illiteracy rates skyrocketing and the student-to-teacher ratio ballooning due to a shortage of educators. Recent reforms have aimed to address these challenges, including increasing teacher salaries to improve the quality of education and the efficiency of the school system. Justice and reconciliation efforts, spearheaded by the Extraordinary Chambers in the Courts of Cambodia, ECCC, have been crucial in addressing the atrocities committed. The ECCC's complex legacy includes the conviction of senior Khmer Rouge leaders and the implementation of reparations projects. However, the tribunal also highlighted the difficulties of achieving broad reconciliation, with former perpetrators and survivors living side by side in many communities. This underscores the necessity of continued commitment to reconciliation and the importance of including younger generations in these efforts. These efforts are part of a broader struggle to come to terms with the genocide's legacy and ensure that such atrocities never occur again. While the ECCC has played a vital role in documenting the Khmer Rouge atrocities and providing a platform for accountability, the journey towards healing and reconciliation is ongoing, requiring sustained support from both the international community and within Cambodia itself. S21, or Tuol Sleng, crystallizes the horror of Pol Pot's regime, once a school turned into a prison where thousands were tortured and killed. Its meticulous documentation of these atrocities today serves as undeniable evidence, transforming it into a memorial and museum. This shift not only honors those lost, but educates on the dangers of unchecked power, symbolizing a commitment to remembering the past and safeguarding human rights. Let's acknowledge the weight of history S21 carries, reminding us of the resilience against tyranny and the continuous journey towards justice and understanding.